This time looking at Quests of Valeria. This is another game in the world of Valeria. First starting off with cards.
Card kingdoms, and then
villages,
and now quests. Hard to keep track of them. There's so many. But
there's a lot happening in the world of Valeria.
This is another one like the Villages of Valeria, where it's a small, same-size box. Kind of a lighter take on that flavor, on that theme.
Yes, and this one actually each player is playing as a guild master, and they're trying to accumulate, I guess, it's points, but you know, it's being the best skilled.
Yep.
Unlike Villages, when you're just building and everything's really open, everyone gets one card in the beginning, a guild master. There are plenty of them, and they're secret. They will tell you what each guild master, who you are, like which quest they would like to have finished. You get extra points finishing there. For example, the two that we actually dealt out, I get more points for subterfuge, sort of like underhanded kind of quests, and battle quests. Meanwhile, you do better with subterfuge and adventure quests.
And you can complete any kind of quest. You'll just get an extra point for doing those ones, which can be helpful in the long run. And the way it actually works, you'll see these are your quests up here, and to complete them, you need to hire people from down here in the citizen deck. So on your turn, you get 2 actions. You have a choice of 4 different ones. First, you can draw a card from here. You're going to have a hand of these guys. And then you can also hire from here. You'll see they have different costs above each one. So what that actually means is you get to discard from your hand or what's played in front of you already in order to hire one of these guys.
The other two you can reserve, which is take one of the quest cards and you put it in front of you. Pretty much this is your quest. It doesn't count to your points yet, but it means no one else can finish it.
Right.
If you already have one in front of you, you can discard it to get a new one.
Or you can actually do the quest.
Right. To do the quest, you need to have the requirements here. For example, the quest I took requires at least one of those symbols, which is the shadow group, I believe they're called. A total of 2 coin, a total of 3 strength.
Or whatever they call it.
So you need to discard people equaling those values. You can discard as many as you want.
So like in this case, you said if you had this guy and this guy, you would still need a shadow, which isn't on the field. But you get the idea. That's the values that you would need.
So pretty much it's gathering from here to discard for these, for points.
Right.
Now, once you either get a quest, finish a quest, or you hire someone, they'll have symbols at the bottom. So let's take a look at the quest first. What it does is it gives you 3 points at the end of the game, and it allows me to do a reserve action for free. So, and if I hire, for example, the summoner here, I get to draw and do another hire for free.
Yeah, when you only have 2 actions per turn, being able, getting an extra 2 right off the bat for that can be very strong, plus having this guy in your lineup. And you also want to think about, what is this lineup going to look like on the next player's turn? Because, say I buy this, then a new card comes out and this all slides down, right?
So what might be expensive for you won't be expensive for the next person.
You might even not want to buy something, even if you want it, because you don't want to give someone else an advantage in that way.
Right.
Your options are changing very often. What you're able to go for is going to be changing, but you also got to be mindful of what your opponents are going for. You might even say reserve something if you think someone's going for more of a certain type that you want. You might want to stop them from getting it.
Right, because you're not guaranteed knowing they are. I mean, possibly no one's going for what you're going for. That's very unlikely, but that way you could be like, I really want to make sure I reserve that one battle that comes up because I know you're going also for battle or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The other thing is there is a single player mode, and in that it plays just like just Valeria. It's sort of you get your score at the end and see how you do. I actually got the top score as well. I was very proud of myself for this one. What happens is you have your 2 actions, and once they're done, so let's say I hired and reserved, everything moves down, and whatever's in the last slot is discarded. It's pretty much your timer. Which becomes really fun and terrifying when you're like, I really want that, but I don't have enough action. And you just see that one battle going, you're like, no.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that's when this card becomes really important. Because in the single player, you gain 1 extra adventure really adds up. Like I got a lot of points off that. But when you play multiplayer, the game ends when someone gets 5 quests.
Sometimes, actually, we were in some positions where maybe you didn't want to end the game yet because you knew someone else had a stronger position than you. Maybe you wanted to go for a higher point value card. It is because I think partially because your goals are hidden and your quests are hidden. So once you have them, they're face down.
Yes.
It's not super easy to predict who's in the lead, for instance, which is something that we always like in games. There's not really king making or anything of that nature, which is a good. Nice plus.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I think makes it a lot better to play through.
You talk about solo player. In more than 2 players, there are more of these quests out also, right. So you can see that. But yeah, I think this is a pretty cool mechanic with the different cost. It's sort of like a deck building lineup, and you kind of are deck building, but then you're also spending what you got permanently for new things. So it takes that genre, but feels pretty different from that. Like, I wouldn't call this a deck building game.
Yeah,
but I don't know what else I would call it.
Deck building. I would say it's resource management, because what you're doing is these are pretty much one-time resources almost, and it's almost a resource management with action economy. Because the idea is to get the most out of this is you're learning how to use these resources as efficiently as possible with the quests, while learning to use your 2 actions management to hire certain actions to get the most out of your actions.
Yeah, it's a lot of things about actions. Compared to Villages, I found this one a little bit harder to wrap my head around the first time. I had to kind of get into the flow of it.
For me, it's a little bit more competitive. I felt Villages was much more...
A little more chill.
Yeah.
This one has... I
didn't play the single player for Villages. You did the single one for that one?
Yeah, it was similar.
And I can say, for me, it was very stressful at the timer, as I said. But like in this one too, when playing, I'm thinking like, oh, I want that one. Like, I remember there's a time when I saw this one, it was the perfect quest came out for me. Like, it has my typing, I already had it done, it was giving me a lot of points. And the person right before me says, I reserve that. Because he was going for those times too, and it didn't occur to me. I'm like,
definitely...
So I feel like this one's a bit more competitive than Villages.
There's more of that. There's also more, you have to be more careful, whereas in Villages, if someone does the other action you didn't do, you're like, oh, well, I'll get to do it then. I don't have to worry as much. In this, it feels a little bit more punishing. You have to be really thinking about which choices do I want to do on my turn. How can I best maximize what do I do, even in what order I do them could make a big difference. I know you have had a couple crazy combos where you would draw from this, draw from this, draw from this.
If you're lucky. I've had those when I'm like, okay, I'm going to start like with this guy for free, so I get a draw and a hire for free. I'm going to then hire this guy for 1, and then I get 2 draw, and then so on and so forth. But of course, that requires lining up, and like very important lineup. Your opponent can't hire anything, so that is very hard to come by. It's not nearly as easy as I think Villages was, like, to do some of the stuff in there.
Yeah.
But still a lot of fun. Definitely if you're up for more of a short, but a bit more competitive sort of, like competitive in the sense of more like taking things from your opponents and trying to predict their moves, this is definitely more up your alley. Yeah. It's still another great game from the Valeria world.
Yeah, it's a success. We both agree. You can probably buy this game right now when this video is being aired, and possibly even from our own website, rollforcrit.com. So make sure that you go and check that out. Plus more reviews and videos, and you can find our talks about Villages of Valeria as well. So all that stuff is there.
But until then, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes. This has been a Roll for Crit review.